I want to talk about one of the projects which I initiated and led in conjunction with the Vancouver Olympics. This was classified as a major event for the emergency responders in Canada. My task was to help them work together in perfect flow. The policies and the ways of doing things in each of these organizations were not only hindering the work of the participants from the respective organization, but were clashing with the policies of other organizations with which they were supposed to cooperate. The goals of the project were to explore ways that can increase performance of emergency response organizations, point to ineffective policies hindering intra- and inter-organizational collaboration, suggest ways towards melting the hierarchical structures to enable individual innovative contributions of emerging leaders, and investigate the impact of professional, social, and cultural aspects, as well as of new technologies, on the effectiveness of joint emergency response operations. I have learned in this project that no plan survives the contact with a disaster in the making. So it was practically impossible to imagine what could go wrong. And therefore, I have developed an information infrastructure that could assist the police officers to self-organize and work together with the other agencies in order to alleviate the effects of a potential threat. And of course, also to detect it as soon as possible by making use of the public. So it was a collaboration between the government organizations involved in the emergency response operations and the public, which was in the stadium or outside. What was very interesting to discover was the incompatibility between the social network operating system and how it operates, and the way in which the emergency response organizations operate. And this is mainly based on the incident management system, which is a very strong, rigid, hierarchical way of doing things. The social network operating system is really prone to solve a complex problem, and it is self-led and self-deployed. It is clear that the emergency response organizations, like any hierarchically based organizations, speak a completely different language than the network, which is agile, fluid, flexible, and can respond in real time to the unexpected. We came up with the idea to develop an application that would make the police department more agile in its operations and as well in its interactions with other organizations. What we focused on was on augmenting situational awareness, improving collaboration, incident response and tracking, complete workforce mobility and empowerment, and to increase safety to the public and to the police personnel. So what we tackled actually was how to deal with an emerging threat, like this spilling from a ship which entered the harbor, which did not announce itself. It's an unknown vessel. And in the first moment, nobody knows. Several organizations are being called, and they all start to deploy an emergency response task on the fly. First of all, to find out if this is a threat or not. Environment Canada has taken quick measures, but they were conflicting with the provincial particular emergency response organization. So policies were conflicting, and I will give you a very simple example of such conflicting policies. The fire tug was owned by the Coast Guard, and the firefighters already started to go and extinguish the fire, and they requested this fire tug. However, the Coast Guard already has circled and included the ship in the exclusion zone, and nobody was allowed to enter that zone until the Coast Guard would patrol and check out what is the situation. But in this time, when the firefighters couldn't intervene, the explosion escalated, and the potential for the explosion to really have dramatic impact was huge. if the fire tug would have been owned by the firefighters, this wouldn't have been the case. So the system which we developed provides an overview of the whole picture that enables both the officers as well as the other agencies and the public at large to mobilize communities in very short time with everyone at the right time at the right place, which enables us to deploy self-organizing emergency response ecosystems of organizations and public that can work in synergy and synchronicity to create a productive flow. The same system can act as a simulation modeling tool that enables the identification of critical blind spots in policy making, which can have a crucial impact on the outcome of an operation.